Alright guys, this recording won't be as good as the ones we usually do. Doing my best, got my little microphone here. Took me a little while to figure that out. It was incredibly sensitive, so the first few tests that I tried, it was just echoey and loud and noisy, and it sounded like I was trying to talk to you from under a waterfall. But now I think I've got the mixers done up just right, and we'll be good to go. Most of you will probably recognize where I'm recording from. I'm at work, so this should be fun. Technically, this is my lunch break, I guess, but they're practicing for Homecoming Spectacular, so who knows how long I'm going to be here tonight. But with no further ado, let's get into our rundown for Week 4 in our league. Taylor beat James, just as I predicted. And with that, I'm 3-1 in my disagreements with Danny for the past week, because he and I disagreed on that one last week, and we disagreed on 3 different NFL games. I was correct on 2 of them. I was incorrect on the Buccaneers losing to the Giants. That's what I predicted. Danny predicted that the Buccaneers would beat the Giants. Danny was right, but of the 4 disagreements we had last week over any game, whether it was our league or the NFL, I was correct in 3 of them. So just quick recap of that. For Taylor and James, drop the Patriots defense. You don't play them. Drop them. I mean, I don't know why I'm giving you this advice, because I'm playing you this week. But drop the Patriots defense. You don't need them. Drop them. Jordy and Deshaun are doing good. I don't know if I have confidence in anyone else for James. But Gurley was fantastic for Taylor. One of the big reasons that Taylor won. So keep riding that train, Taylor. Bischoff won, just as I predicted. Bischoff quietly has probably the team I'm most scared to face. Even though Bobby is currently 4-0, I feel like Bischoff's team has the biggest potential every week, and it's just scary. Andrew also has a bunch of studs, but just as I predicted again, Christian McCaffrey underperformed. I'll talk about that later. Danny won as I predicted. I think Mixon will do better. I think Cooks will stabilize out. He's been a little bit fluky, but I think he'll stabilize and be pretty solid. And Big Ben on the road. Didn't like that for Brad. Sorry, I dropped down and looked at Brad's. But I meant to say janky is got me a little bit worried, quite honestly. He's had a couple of games where he should have been huge and just wasn't. Now moving down, Bobby conquered again, as I predicted. I was right about Rodgers and Bell. Hyde got injured, though, so I'm going to excuse myself from being wrong about that one. And now, Big Ben on the road. Don't want any of that. I, of course, beat Christian, in large part thanks to Ezekiel Elliott. And I didn't need him in the end because I had Travis Kelce play on Monday night, but I had already beaten Christian by then. I was already ahead in points, and everything that Kelce got me was just icing on the cake. And so that was fantastic for me. And I'll get more into Christian's players a little bit later. With that, quick update on how we're doing in Pick'em. Bobby is in the lead currently with 38 correct over the past 4 weeks. I am in second place with 36 correct, and Danny is in last place with 35 correct. And so that will jump right into predictions in the NFL for this week. We have the Patriots at the Buccaneers. Bobby and Danny have both picked the Buccaneers to win in that one. I'm going to take the Patriots in that one. I think they have a get-right game here. The Buccaneers do look very solid. I'm not downplaying that. but I think the Patriots are mad. And as we saw after their loss in week 1, being mad the next week worked. Then we have the Bills at Bengals. I, like Danny, will take the Bills. Bobby, however, takes the Bengals in that one. Then we have the Jets at the Browns. It's Jets across the board there. I'm sure that's a huge surprise for everyone, and that everyone's just going to be watching this game. This one is just got so much implication on the line. Then we have the the Panthers at the Lions. Lions across the board. Then we have the 49ers at the Colts. I am taking the Colts as opposed to Danny and Bobby both taking the 49ers. I think the Colts have a slightly more potent offense, even without Andrew Luck, and an ever so slightly better defense. I mean, if they can play like they did in the first half against the Seahawks, I think they'll do well against the 49ers. The trick will be to play as well as they did in the first half for full quarters of football. Then we have the Titans at the Dolphins. I, again, like Danny, will take the Titans. Bobby disagrees, taking the Dolphins. We have then Chargers at Giants. Bobby and I will both take the Giants. Sorry about that noise. My computer giving me a bit of a notification there. Bobby and I will both take the Giants, where Danny takes the Chargers. Both the Giants and the Chargers are 0-4 right now. So one of these two teams will turn into an 0-5 team. And I think that will be the Chargers slipping down to 0-5. I think the Giants answer a few questions on offense, and they're just going to out it. For both of them, it's going to come down to the quarterback that throws the most. And as good as Keenan Allen has been this year, I'll trust even though he's catching them from Eli Manning. That leads us into Cardinals at Eagles. Eagles across the board there. Fly, Eagles, fly. They're looking pretty good this year. Jaguars at Steelers. Danny is taking the upset of the Jaguars. Bobby and I are going to go with the Steelers. It's at home. I will take the Steelers at home every time. The Jaguars' defense has been good. The Steelers has had a pretty good defense as well. So I'm going to go with the Steelers in that one. Le'Veon Bell has shown that he's monstrous. Big Ben at home is usually pretty good. Antonio Brown will probably get better. He had a little bit of antics this past week, but I think he turns that around and gets better. That leads us into Ravens at Raiders, and even though it's at home for Oakland, Derek Carr did break his back, sort of. He'll be out 2 to 6 weeks. A source that I trust thinks it'll be closer to the 2-week end. But even still, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I think the Ravens have the better defense between the two of them. And even though the Ravens' offense hasn't looked great, I think they're going to take it in this one, even though they're traveling across the country. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be close. But give me the Ravens. Seahawks at Rams. I'm going to agree with Danny with this one, as much as it pains me to say it. I think my Seahawks are going to lose to the Rams because for some reason, the Rams always have the Seahawks number. The Rams could win 2 games all season, and it would be against the Seahawks. And the Seahawks could lose only 2 games in the whole season, and both of them would be against the Rams. Don't know how that works. Bobby, however, is going to go with the Seahawks in that one. So I hope that Bobby is right. I would be very much okay if Bobby continues his lead because he got that one right. Packers at Cowboys. The Cowboys lost to the Rams last week, and I think that the Packers are rolling. Go Pack, go! Go Packers! Packers across the board. Then the last two picks are also across the board. We all have the Chiefs at the Texans, with the Chiefs winning, although I agree with Danny. I think that this will be a much closer game than many people are assuming it will be. But Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, I just like the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs have the most potential to go undefeated throughout the season. I don't think they will. I think at least the Broncos will beat them, and they'll probably lose one or two more. But the Chiefs very close to looking like an undefeated team this year. And then, as I said, it's Vikings across the board for the last pick. The Vikings at the Bears. That should be, I think that will actually be a fairly decent game. Not a great game, but decent. Jordan Howard wasn't really able to get anything going against the Packers, so going up against the Vikings run defense, and it'll be Mitchell Trubisky's first start in the NFL. Not really trusting the Bears with that one. I think that the Vikings... so I tried to bust through that as quick as I could. Now you'll have to forgive me. I'll be looking at my paper, and then I will be looking at the computer screen. I won't be looking directly into the camera very much for the next several... Excuse me. Gotta take a drink of my water. I won't be looking directly into the camera for the next few minutes as I run down how the matchups are going to look in the 57's league. We're going to start out with Bobby at Taylor. I am going to take Taylor in this one. I think Bobby is going to suffer his first defeat of the season. I think Aaron Rodgers and Le'Veon Bell will have nice games. Carlos Hyde is a little banged up. Deshaun Jackson hasn't done much yet for the Buccaneers, so I don't know how well that's going to go. And I do assume, as I'm looking at it right now, Bobby has two teams on a bye. I'm going to refresh that really fast. But I will assume that he'll switch those out. But even still, I'm going to take Taylor in this one. I like Carson Wentz at Arizona, even though he will be throwing to that scary Cardinals secondary. I'm going to take Todd Gurley. I like that. Frank Gore scored 8 fantasy points against the Seahawks. So if Frank Gore could do 8 points, I think Todd Gurley is going to get more, which it pains me to say that because go Hawks. But I think that Todd Gurley will have a nice game. I think Adam Thielen will actually have a nice game against Chicago. Larry Fitzgerald against Philadelphia I like. Rob Gronkowski, he is dealing with a bit of an injury, but if he plays, I really like that one. The only one I don't love there is Tariq Cohen against Minnesota. If I were Taylor, I'd probably switch that out. So with that one, give me Taylor, and Danny is taking Bobby in that one, as you probably already know, depending on whose video you watched first, whether you watched mine or Danny's first. So hopefully I didn't spoil that pick for you. That leads us straight into Kyle at Bischoff. Again, Bischoff is the only person that I refer to by his last name in our league, just because that's what I've always called Bischoff. Bischoff is Bischoff. That one, I am going to take Bischoff. I think Jameis Winston will have a nice game against New England, but he's really the only one I love on Kyle's side. The Vikings defense will do well. Matt Prater will do well, but Jameis Winston is the only one that I love. I think Tom Brady will do really well against the Buccaneers. I don't particularly care for Derrick Henry. Well, no, sorry. I do love Derrick Henry against Miami. I love Pierre Garçon against Indianapolis. Don't particularly love Dez Bryant against Green Bay. Dez Bryant is fluky and touchdown independent. I like AJ Green. I like Stephon Diggs. I like Gotskowski. I like a lot that Bischoff has to offer. As I said, I do not love Jay Ajayi. I'm just not really in love with that right now. I would be quite worried about Jay Ajayi personally. And Kyle is sitting with Kelvin Benjamin on his bench, but Kelvin Benjamin will more likely than not be shadowed by Darius Slay all game this week, if I could get my sentence formed correctly. So even if he does put him in, don't love that. If he puts in Doug Martin, don't even love that, even though New England has been really good. Really good for running backs. I don't love that because Doug Martin served a suspension, traditionally a slow starter. And with Jacquizz Rodgers doing really good, the Buccaneers head coach has said the starting job may or may not be Doug Martin's. We'll just have to see. It might be a bit of a committee this week, I think, as they see which one they like better. Whichever, between Jacquizz and Doug, whoever gets the big explosive play this week, that's going to be the starter for the Buccaneers for the rest of the season. That's my bold prediction right there. With that, we'll move on to Andrew at Christian. For Andrew, I like Gordon, even though he has struggled a little bit, and I really like Fournette. I like Evans. I like Hogan. And with Gordon, he has struggled with a little bit of injury, a little bit banged up. He's currently ranked 14th at the position. So not looking like the Melvin Gordon we all expected. The only one that I don't love for Andrew is Christian McCaffrey. He should have had a huge week against New England, and he's just been really underwhelming for the whole season, really. So don't love that. Don't love the Lions' defense, but I actually think they'll do pretty solid. They'll do much better than the Patriots' defense. So I do like that. For Bischoff, on the other hand, well against Bay. I don't love Jordan Howard against Minnesota. Solid run defense. Don't love that. I do like LaShawn McCoy. I do like Tyrell Williams. I don't like T.Y. Hilton. He's had one big game, but as long as the Colts are out of luck, as Danny likes to say, I don't trust T.Y. Hilton. I also don't love John Brown. He has played more snaps than J-Ron Brown has, but J-Ron Brown, even though he's had less snaps, has had more targets. And he's been more productive. So I like J-Ron Brown better than John Brown. So even though it looks like Christian has the edge, according to the predictions for ESPN, I'm going to take Andrew in this one. That gives us Brad at Danny. This one was the hardest one for me to call. I looked at it, waffled back and forth, almost flip of a coin, but I'm actually going to take Brad in this one. Really, the only one I like for Danny this week is Kareem Hunt. Russell Wilson will do okay. I love Kareem Hunt. Ride him. Joe Mixon, not loving. Brandon Cooks has been solid, if not a little streaky. So I love Kareem Hunt. I like Brandon Cooks. Devontae Adams had that really bad hit. He has been in practice this week, but I don't know how well he'll do come game time. Wendell Smallwood on the injury report, scary a little bit there. I think this will be one of the Jaguars' toughest matchups. They did get slaughtered by the Titans, and Pittsburgh has a good offense, and it's in Pittsburgh. So give me. I don't love the Jaguars there. On the other side, though, I don't love Cam Newton at Detroit. I like it, don't love it. I love DeMarco Murray at Miami. I like Lamar Miller. I like Odell Beckham. I like DeAndre Hopkins just because of the volume that he's going to get. Will Fuller will get volume too. I don't like Jarvis Landry. He's really the only one for Brad that I really don't like. So with that one, give me Brad. And if Brad switches out Jarvis Landry, if Brad drops Jarvis Landry or puts Jarvis Landry on his bench and puts someone else up into the flex spot, I like Brad even more in that matchup. Which, last but not least, gives us me at James. Of course I'm going to pick myself. I mean, of course. I do like Deshaun Watson over Tyrod Taylor, which is the quarterback matchup there. But I like Ezekiel Elliott better than Bilal Powell, even though Bilal Powell is against Cleveland and Ezekiel Elliott's at Green Bay. I like Ezekiel Elliott. For James, I like Watson. I like Powell. I love Jordy. Dougie will do okay. Bit of a struggle injury-wise. Sammy Watkins, struggle injury-wise. And I don't like Sammy Watkins going up against the Seahawks secondary. I don't want any of that. And he still has the Patriots defense. So not loving James's matchup there. I think Frank Gore, he did 8 points against Seattle. What do you think he's going to do against San Francisco? Antonio Brown has a get-right game against Jacksonville. Travis Kelce has another good game against Houston. The only one I don't love there is Aaron Jones in my flex spot, and that's just because Jamal Williams has practiced. Ty Montgomery is looking at trying to play through the pain. So I have Jones there for now, but come Sunday he might not be there anymore because Green Bay may play Jamal Williams or someone else, and I might switch Jones out if I think that's either going to be running back by committee or just him not be the starter. And then Bengals and Blair Walsh. Bengals defense, Blair Walsh kicker. I do like Blair Walsh against the Rams. I think that'll be a good matchup. Don't love Bengals against Buffalo, but there's really no one else on waivers that I loved either. That might change as I look a little bit more. But that is it as far as that rundown goes. In Danny's little video, if you haven't watched that yet, I suggest you go watch it. It's pretty good. But in Danny's video, he does say that he doesn't know whether Christian or James would be in last place right now since they are both 0-4. Right now it is Christian in dead last because the tiebreaker that our league goes to is total points scored, and Christian has scored less points than James has over the course of the season. If you ever have a question about that, you can go in and look at the playoff bracket, either online or on the app. If you go and look at the playoff bracket, it'll tell you what everyone is currently ranked for the entire league. So Christian is in dead last right now, in part thanks to losing to me last week. And Christian might move up to 9th, but I have Christian sliding to 0-5, sliding to 0-5, so the bottom of the league might look the same next week. So that's a little bit shorter than usual, and sorry you just had to listen to me, but hope you got a little something out of that. I love preparing for this. I love talking about this. This is lots of fun. I really enjoy this, guys. Hope you enjoy to it. Thanks, guys.